Is the Morale Sling by Nutsac the perfect sling? I wear my Nutsac in the car, to the store, on the road, across state lines, in the park, by the pond, on the front. What's going on, everybody? It's Lamar with MFN Research, and today we are taking a look at the Morale Sling by Nutsac. I know some people have a problem with the name, but I say, hey, let's just have a little fun and just hold on to your Nutsac. I know, I promise, I'm gonna stop for now, at least. Let's get on with the rest of it. If you wanna look at the Morale Sling in the Sling lineup, it's basically the same as the regular Sling, just adding a patch of loop paneling for your Morale patches. It's probably the smaller brother of the Sling Plus, and then it's bigger than the Speed Sling that they just came out with not too long ago. So before we begin, let's get two things out of the way. First, this is a $199 American-made sling, so we're gonna talk about that a little bit more in the value section. And also, Nutsac did send me this sling for review. No requirements, no stipulations. They just wanted me to take a look at it and give my opinion, and that's what you're gonna get as always. Funny thing is, this sling was actually on my radar for the Perfect Sling series, but what it was gonna be was one of the later ones that I do probably in the summer so I could test it in the heat. But they sent it to me now. This little channel has been fortunate to get those bags and items that I've been interested in and have my eye on. Definitely thanks to you guys out there for watching, liking, and commenting for that. So let's take a look at this guy. Let's look at the quality of the materials and the hardware. This guy right here is an 18-ounce wax canvas sling. It's got metal hardware throughout. It's got YKK zippers, and there's full grain leather accents both on the zippers, all 4 zipper pulls, on the logo patch right here, and on the handle, and also in a couple spots on the strap. So right here, and I do think that's it. So just those spots have a pop of full grain leather on them. If the wax canvas isn't your thing, it also comes in black Cordura. I wanted the wax canvas since everybody makes a black bag, so I wanted something a little different. And there's also a metal D-ring on the strap in case you want to clip something to it. While I love technical fabrics, your X-Pac, your Dyneema and stuff like that, I still have a soft spot for those heritage fabrics, the leathers, the wax canvases, and the things like that. Between that, the material, as well as the hardware, the metal hardware, I think it just all goes together very well, and I'm gonna have to give it 10 for quality of materials because the material is very high quality in this bag. Now let's talk about organization and ease of access. On the front, there's a quick access compartment that has a zipper with the same leather accented zipper pulls. There's no organization in here, just a straight pocket. And then when you open it up on the other side, there's a pocket on this side that's just a slip pocket. So on this front tab right here, there's a quick access pocket right here and a slip pocket right there. All your pockets sit pretty much right here on this guy. The star of the show for the Morale Sling has got to be all of the Molle webbing. And let's open it up and you can see it goes all the way to the bottom. So there's what, 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows on the bottom, and you can pretty much configure this any way you want. You can clip things directly to the bag. You can clip pouches. You can put stuff in the slots. What I did is, like I said, I took everything out, but a few of the clips are in here still because I just wanted to show you how some of it works out when it's actually in the bag. And then also the 4 zippers, what they sort of do is they customize your access. So you can leave 2 down here and you can just go right here and just access right there. Or you can bring it so where they have them like this, and then you just have your access like that. So you can make it a kind of a top loader or a side loader. What I usually do is have 2 zippers down here, and I have the 2 zippers at the top, and that's how I use my access. One thing I will mention that is if you have it on the front this way, and I'll show it to you, when you have it open, notice that everything is oriented for the top, so you'll just have to be careful how you have things in here and how you reach in here for it. You don't want to cut yourself or don't want to grab anything wrong with the bag this way. The front pocket can be a little tight when you have stuff loaded in there. It's a little trouble to get your hand in there if you have your phone. It works, but it wasn't my favorite application. You can get your tablet in there, but it wasn't my favorite application again as well. But for me in this particular bag, while it still works, so you could do it, and that's a small price to pay for all of the Molle that's in this bag. I just really loved messing with the Molle, playing with different configurations, seeing what worked, what didn't work, what was the best organization for my needs, changing it out from time to time when I wanted to try something different. And I don't even think, even though I'm finishing up this review, I think there's still a couple more ideas I want to try. Nutsac also has different accessory options, different pouches, a holster, cord management tools, things like that that can help you add organization in here. And plus any Molle accessories, patches, and pouches can go in here just fine. The quad zip that we showed you a few minutes ago, I really like that. It gives a lot of versatility. You can have an efficient carry where you're wearing it across your back or across your chest. You can configure the zippers how you want, knowing what you're gonna access day in and day out in this bag, and you can tailor it to meet your needs. The one thing, and I think I mentioned it a few minutes ago, was just be careful when you have the bag this way and you're going in this way, because sometimes you just got to be cognizant of what you have in here and what you're reaching for. But a few weeks of carrying, you won't have a problem with that. You'll be used to it in no time. So for me, using this bag with all of the Molle, I just thought it was fantastic. Just having everything in here organized, open. I didn't use that many pouches in here when I had it. In the EDC video in the future that you'll see how that's laid out, but I really enjoyed that. That was kind of fun. And because of that, I'm gonna give the organization and ease of access a 9. Let's talk about the comfort of the bag. There's a bit of back padding on the back, and I never noticed it getting uncomfortable when I was wearing it across my back or across my chest for that matter. I think it worked pretty well. It was comfortable pretty much when I wore it all day. As always, I'll talk about the comfort of the strap later. The leather wrapped grab handle right here is really comfortable to grab. I didn't notice any hot spots or anything like that. So while I did like the vertical rectangular shape of the sling, it did take a little bit of time to get used to. I didn't get to experience it because it's not those Texas summers yet, but I imagine just from my experience with wax canvas in the past, it might get a little warm in the summer. I don't think it's gonna be anything unbearable, but it's something to keep in mind if you run hot. For me, it was a comfortable bag, no hot spots, nothing like that. I didn't have any problems, and we'll talk about the strap in detail later. And the plus side of that is I think once this bag breaks in a little more over time, I think it's just gonna get even more comfortable. So now let's talk about the design and the style of the Morale Sling. The wax canvas and the leather styling is a real nice touch. Some people might not want the loop section right here because they're not a big fan of Morale patches and REs and stuff like that, but you can go with just the regular sling if you don't really want that. I like it. I like a little bit of customization, so that's what I went with that. Or if you want something larger, you can go with the Sling Plus. I think it gives a nice heritage vibe, and it does well in a sea of black slings. I've got a few, and I've got a few more black slings coming. I'm gonna be honest, like I said before, this bag was on my radar for a really long time. I really liked the heritage vibes of it. I liked the look, I liked the layout, I liked what seemed to be the build quality, and it all seems to fit together well. Honestly, I think it looks better than I thought it was gonna look in the pictures, so I'm really happy with the way the design and the style looks on this bag. And the other thing, I think I've had it about 6 weeks, and the longer I use it, I think it's gonna break in, and I think it's gonna look even better in the future. For the design and the style, I'm gonna give it a 9. I really like this bag, and you can always customize this particular version to your style to add any patches or REs, or you can just get one of those silencer patches if you want to. And I just think that adds a lot of fun, and you can personalize this bag to your own needs. So now let's talk about the versatility of the Morale Sling. This bag is a sling made to wear primarily across your back. While it doesn't seem like it's designed that way, wearing it across your chest is probably just as comfortable. One thing about this bag, Nutsac also sells a backpack strap. So what you do is you take this G hook off, you take this off, and it hooks right here and it makes a backpack for it. I don't really think that I would try this version, but it's something that you might want to try. If you get the larger Sling Plus, that might be something you might want to look into. Lastly, a use that I don't think anybody talks about, and it was probably my favorite use case, and I'm probably going to do that in between sling reviews, and I think it works fantastic as a giant EDC pouch. This right here was my original Max EDC, the VanQuest pouch, and I think what it does is it does everything this one does and more. When you just shove it in your backpack, the way it's designed, it fits in there perfect, and you can just snatch it out right there. So if I'm gonna take a backpack, I can just take the straps off the back and then just throw it in my bag as a giant tech pouch. The grab handle makes it real easy getting it in and out, and the shape is well suited to fit inside a backpack. Because of all these features and configurations, I'm gonna give the versatility a 9. So while I'm sure it works well, I don't think I'm ever gonna use this sling in backpack mode. If I had the Sling Plus, I might consider it because it's a bit larger, but at this size, I don't think it really needs to be a backpack. So one thing, I think the longer you look at it, I think you'll find more uses, more ways to utilize the organization, and I think that's a big plus for this bag as well. So in addition to the versatility of the carrying and storing of this bag, I think the versatility of the interior with the Molle, you can configure it to be whatever you want. If you want it to be like a med kit, if you want it to be a tech bag, if you want it to be an EDC bag, if you want it to be a school bag, if you want it to be something for the family, if you want it to be a diaper bag, I think it just fits all those needs very well. And I think it's got a great layout to do whatever you want to do with it. I guarantee if you set it up 3 different times, it'll look 3 different ways, and that's one of the cool things I like about this bag. So now let's talk about the size. The Sling is 5.2 liters. It's 3.5 by 11.5 by 8 inches, and it weighs 1.7 ounces. So given the weight versus the volume of this Sling, I think it's a little bit on the heavier end of the spectrum. So where last time's LVC 8 was heavy because I think all of the padding, I think all of the material contributes to the weight on this bag. The material, the hardware, and all that stuff, because you're going for that more heritage approach. Given the size and the material, I think it's fine for what it is, but even still, it's a bit on the heavy end of the spectrum. So because of that, I'm gonna give it a 7 in terms of size. So let's talk about the availability. Nutsac bags can be found on their website. They can be shipped domestically in the US, and they can be shipped international. Shipping is free domestically for orders over $200. I gave the Sling a 7 in terms of availability. While you can get it shipped anywhere, domestic or international, there are no stores to pick it up in, and you can only find these bags on the Nutsac site, and some of the things were out of stock at this time. So that's something to keep in mind when you're talking about availability. And I remember in the past, this Sling used to be in quite a few colors, but there's only the black Cordura and the wax canvas right now. Both are great, and I'm fine with either, but there were a couple other color options as well in the past. Okay, let's talk about the strap. Let's go through my strap features. Is it completely removable? Definitely. You've got a G-hook right there, and then you've got a clip right here with the metal D-rings. It's used to both remove it and to adjust which side you wear it on. It's very quick and very easy to do that. Is it quickly adjustable? I'm gonna say no, not really. You can adjust it right here through this closed loop. It's somewhat easy, but it's a little bit tight. That will probably loosen up after using it a little bit, but I'm gonna be honest, I kind of just set it and forgot about it and just left it how it was. Is the strap comfortable? I'm gonna say for the most part, yes. This extra padding right here, it does help distribute the load. There is a little bit of padding right there. It's wider than the rest of the strap, and there's mesh right here to help keep you cool. This part does go on your shoulder when you're wearing it across your chest, but I didn't find it too big of a deal like some of the other slings we have. I found it fairly comfortable wearing it for good periods of time. One thing I will mention is that you do have to keep in mind where this shoulder pad is, because it's stitched both right here and right here, so you can't really adjust this up or down. You have to make your adjustments through here. So make sure you have the shoulder pad sitting where you want, and if you really want to dial it in, is make sure it's sitting where you want, both when it's across your chest and when it's across your back. I did notice just a little bit, when you have this bag packed out after a good bit of time, it does give you a little bit of hot spot on your shoulder, but I'm gonna say, given what I put in here to test that out and how long I had it, it's really not that bad. Okay, this one was a bit interesting to score. It did the job well, but one thing I noticed when wearing the strap is when I would put the bag on over my head when I had a hat on, it was a little tricky to get over. And I think if it had that quick adjust mechanism, I could adjust it wide, put the bag on, and then pull the sling tight. So one of the things I found I do with wearing a hat is I would just unclip it here like this and then clip it back. That's pretty easy, pretty quick release, and as close to quick release as I can imagine. I wouldn't expect this design to use that way completely, but that's what I worked out when I had a hat on. So between the layout and the zippers, I found wearing it across the front and the back to be just as comfortable, the layout to be exactly the same. I think it's a truly ambidextrous bag, so the strap does limit itself to wearing it on the left or the right shoulder. One thing you'll have to keep in mind is make sure that the placement of the pad is just right, because it's stitched there. Depending on what you do with it, it might not be in the right spot for you, so just be careful. I found once I got it, I put the bag pretty much where it was gonna be, and I really haven't adjusted it since. So I really liked the closed loop strap, and I really liked that this leather strap keeper was here. It gives it a nice premium feel and it slips all the way down. So I think it covers all your bases as far as a good strap. There's a couple things that I think it could work out, but overall it's not a horrible strap. It could just be a little bit more comfortable and have a quick release. You do those two things and it's almost perfect. But because of that, I think I'm gonna give it a 7. So let's talk about the value. I think in this case, I think the price is justified. I know this isn't a price point for a sling that fits everybody, but if you're looking at this sling, I think you have a good idea of the value proposition. Trust me, I am a fan of a budget sling, and I've got a few of those coming as well. So I'd say maybe save a couple dollars to upgrade the strap. Other than that, I think this guy's gonna last a really long time. And because of that, I gave the value an 8. I'm definitely gonna save a few dollars in the future and get a few more items from Nutsac because I think it's really good quality and I think it's gonna last a long time. It probably lasts longer than you. Some of the items I have my eye on are the tack sacks, the duffel bags, and the rucksack. So take a look at those as well if you want. So as far as the nice to haves, is the back padded? Yes, it is padded, but there is no mesh to keep you cool. There is a nice full grain leather grab handle on the top. As far as water bottles go, I didn't really find a good way to incorporate them in the bag. I'll show you that in the things that didn't work out section a little later on, but I tried a couple solutions and I didn't really care for either one of them. So I would say that this is configured for concealed carry just because right here with the Molle hooks, they sell holsters. You can actually incorporate your own holsters and you can situate your accessory here just so it's ready and easy to access. Not my jam, but if you want to, you can. So as far as a loop section for your REs, that is the whole point of the Morale Sling. So obviously there's a loop section right there, so you're gonna have that. Plus with all the Molle inside, you can always add some of the Molle loop panels. I think I'll put a couple in the description if you want to add some in here as well. And as far as the minimal branding goes, sometime way back, they changed their logo. This was the original logo, and this is the logo now. So they just made it a little more subtle. Some people are conscious about the name, but I feel there's just more important things to worry about. So I think it's fine. And this ships with this patch as well. So normally this is the section where I would take you through the EDC loadout and how I've been using the bag while I've been reviewing it. This one's gonna be a little bit different because I feel like this bag's EDC deserves its own video because it was completely overhauled from what you've seen me carry in other videos. So I want to take some time and do that. Stay tuned for that video in the future when the time comes and that video is done. If you're watching that in the future, the link will be in the description to watch that video as well. So what I will show you is some of the things that I tried to experiment that maybe worked but didn't work as well as I would have liked. As far as water bottles go, I tried a couple solutions. I tried these little guys right here. They're kind of tube shaped. I think they're 8 ounces. They come in a 2-pack. So what I thought initially I could try was maybe put 2 in here, 1 there, and 1 there. When the bag is empty, it actually works pretty good, like that. But what I found is once you start putting the stuff in here, that really doesn't work as well as I thought it was going to. I even thought about maybe seeing if I could put it down on the bottom, but that didn't work either. Because there is a good bit of space down here on the bottom, but that didn't work for me either. So next, I refuse to pay, at least right now anyway, the price of an A6 memo bottle. So I thought I'd just try one of these little knockoff guys from Amazon. I like this little water bottle. I end up using it around the house, but I put this in as well, and it was just more of the same. I think this one works a little better than this one because it's not as tall. And what I may even give a shot is putting it back down here because it does fit. The only trouble I had with using it this way is that it's on the bottom and you got to get past all your stuff. So I may give that a little bit more time. But that's what I found with this one. So I wasn't really a big fan, but I would say if I had to pick one and I needed to take a water bottle and I didn't want to hold it in my hand, I go this way over this way. So next, I had this grand vision of putting 1 clip here and 1 clip here, and I was gonna put the commander, which Nutsac was also so gracious to send to me. I was gonna put it here, and then I could open the bag up, and then it would kind of fold out like a book. I could get everything I needed back here, fold it in, access everything I need back here. That, it worked, but I found this is just a little too big to do that with. So I ended up incorporating this in some of my larger bags, and we're gonna talk about what's in here in a future video, so stay tuned for that. And now the last 2 things, I put my moleskin in here, and it fits in here, and it's funny, and I kinda wish I was doing the EDC video to show you, but it fits in here when there's nothing in here. It worked, I had it in there for about a week and a half, but I just found that it took more space than I wanted to use in this bag. I didn't need this much notebook while I was using this bag, so I ended up going smaller. It fits no problem, but it just wasn't ideal for me. And so then I also grabbed my daughter's tablet just to show you. Her tablet's about the same size as mine. Her case is a little bigger. But what I did notice as well is the tablet fit in here. But again, the same theme applies, is once you put your EDC stuff in here that works on the Molle, is it gets tight right here. So it wasn't a problem. I think I carried it with the tablet in here for about 2 weeks. It works, don't get me wrong. You can put your tablet in here, but it just wasn't my favorite configuration. And there's no way it's gonna fit in there. So now let's talk about some of the things I liked about this bag. First and foremost, I gotta say I love the look and the style of the Sling. That's the reason I was gonna get it. That's the reason I was excited about it. So I definitely have to say that. I think at its core, it's a very simple bag that does what it's supposed to do well and has a ton of functionality and leaves that to your imagination of what you want to do with it. I gotta say, along with the style, the materials, I think the wax canvas is very quality, the full grain leather is nice, and I think it's just great all put together. I like the shape. I didn't think I was gonna like the shape at first, but once you wear it, it kind of grows on you and it works out and it works to organize everything. So I really like how the bag is laid out. I really like accessing things in the bag because of the layout, and I think it works pretty good. Because of the quad zippers, I think slinging it across your chest is a really good use. I don't think it's really designed as a chest sling per se, but the quad zippers really make that work. Even more so than wearing it as a sling, and I'm almost tempted to keep it that way, I really enjoyed using it in my backpack as a giant EDC sling. That's almost the way I use it more than half of the time. So I'm almost glad that this review is over so I can stop wearing it as a sling. Not that it's not uncomfortable or anything, but I just liked it that much more to put it in a backpack, to have that, say a tablet, some snacks, my kids' stuff, and just have a larger EDC for those times where I need more stuff. If I get to where I'm going and I need to deploy the sling, I can just take this out, put the strap on, and I'm ready to go. Did that a few dozen times as well. And did I say anything about the quad zip? More slings need to do that quad zip design. It almost gives it that clamshell kind of feel, and that really makes it, being that it's a vertical sling, easy to get into. So one thing I think I would have liked to add is maybe in this section, maybe cut a little pocket right here behind the Molle. I don't know how that would work. I mean, maybe put the padding over here to protect it, but I would have liked a little extra pocket here. You could have probably put your tablet there a little easier. I wouldn't mind maybe a little pop of Velcro right here just to hold this down. For the most part, I didn't have any trouble with it, but I could see a situation when you're changing the orientations, depending on what you have in there, stuff slipping out, but I could see that being fastened down, or to keep the heritage style, maybe like a brass button or something right there. The front pocket, if you load the bag out and you have something in here, this gets a little bit tight. Right now, it's not that big of a deal because it's mostly empty, but maybe just a little more clearance or maybe a small gusset just to get your phone in here, to make it so it's a little more leader independent of the main compartment. So now let's look at the strap and let's talk about where we could improve it. This webbing, we can make it a little bit wider to help distribute that. I would have liked just a hair more padding here just to make it a little more comfortable. I would have liked maybe something a little easier to adjust, but if you're not gonna do that, I would have also liked maybe something like on the Waterfield Design Sling, a quick disconnect. Don't need both per se, but one or the other would be appreciated. I'd say maybe add a few more colors as well. I do really like this color. I like the black as well, but when you go look at the Speed Sling, they have a blue, they have a red, I think there's a green that's a little bit different from this. They used to have those colors, but they stopped carrying them. So I'd maybe like to see a couple more colors. So another thing, just be careful, because looking at all the accessories and trying to incorporate them all in your bag, that could get expensive after some time. So overall, the raw score is a 74, giving it a score of an 82.2 out of 100. Ranking the Sling so far, I've only done 2, and this one comes out higher than the 511 LVC8, where I think it got a raw score of 58. So keep an eye out for the EDC that I built to use this bag. Keep an eye out for the Nutsac Commander video coming soon. Take a look at the playlist for the Perfect Sling Quest. This is only 2 in. I've got 2 in the house, 3 in the house, and a long list. Any suggestions of any slings you'd want me to look at, Go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. And don't forget, I'm gonna shoot for having these guys out every 2 weeks. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'm Lamar with MF and Research, and I'm out.